You're listening to Startup Universe Talks, a podcast where we meet with startup founders, angel investors, and major stakeholders of the startup ecosystem. They let us in on the do's and don'ts of running a startup, their career story, and the process of succeeding as well as failing. In other words, everything of interest to startup nerds. Startup Universe is a massive network of opportunities for tech startup founders.
Hello, Mr. Catran. Welcome to Startup Universe Talks, where we talk about the startup ecosystem in an international level. First of all, thank you so much for joining. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm glad to be here and meet you. And as you said, share some international spark, stardust on
Yes.
on startups and acceleration programs, and how is it in the eyes of, let's say, the international community, or what we like to call the ecosystem. So thank you very much for having me here.
I'm glad and I hope that you enjoy our little session. So to kickstart our interview, I would like to ask if you can share a little bit of your story and your career with us.
Sure. So I'm 53 years old. I live in Israel. This is where I'm based. And I would go straight to my, let's say, startup and acceleration and tech innovation career that was kind of kicked off in 2010, but officially in 2012, after selling a group of companies I've owned, and I've decided to look deeper into startups. So I know it's only 2012, it's not 1912, meaning it was not that long ago, but still, even at that time, the whole notion, the idea about startups and acceleration programs and incubators was still kind of the beginning. And everyone was kind of testing, what's this startup schmartup thing? Well, what does it do? I mean, why don't call it just a small business? Because it's a small business. So why call it a startup? And what would you need to be in order to be a startup? So I kind of dived into this, initially trying to invest in what everyone called a startup, but very early on, I got that I don't know how to handle startups. It's weird, half-baked people, not really clear where they're going, what they want to do. They have amazing motivation and inspiration, but I did not know much more than that, how to actually handle them. So that's kind of how I started. I began to establish more and more of those programs called accelerators, and I'm celebrating my 21st or 21 accelerators to date over the span of, let's say, 11 years. I've been immersed in this. I also consult big companies. I consult governments on how to establish their entire startup ecosystem or tech innovation. Companies, it will be to business develop them into new markets, which is to reach first adopters, customers, as well as fundraising for the startup. So a little bit of all of that. And my main passion, of course, is to stand on stage and share all this. That is definitely my passion, to inspire people, push them, kick their ass to move forward. Very different than in my country, where you feel kind of a sense of urgency in Israel. We are restless, okay? We're not a big nation, but we make a noise of several nations put together. And innovation, in a way, is in the core of what we do. Hence, we need to be self-sufficient and self-reliant, meaning we need to innovate all the time for our needs. Little did we know in the beginning that what we invent for ourselves will be needed by others. But then it became kind of a business, so much so that you will see people having a business card called entrepreneur or a startupper. It's already a job here in Israel. So that's a little bit of what I'm about.
Okay, thank you so much. So talking about Israel, since you've mentioned it, It's been said that Israel is a startups nation, and I would like to know what makes it the Israeli ecosystem so favorable for new businesses.
So as I said in the beginning, a startup is a small seed that first of all needs to be planted somewhere. So you need to have the soil, the right kind of soil, and you need to grow it, feed it, water it, needs attention. For that, we have accelerators and incubators. But startups is about people. People were always the ones finding the needs, being creative on ideas, turning ideas into action. Intentions are nice, but intention is not a business. Action, results, deliverables, that is what we look for. So when you take those, let's say, small 1-2 person unit that we call a startup, essentially built out of a person with a vision, a person who thinks he can fly or she can fly, and then a tech person that tells them, hey, come back to Earth. No, you can't fly. We need to make something out of this crazy that runs in your mind. So those two people spark. On a day-to-day, they have nothing in common, honestly, aside of taking air in, that's it. But when they come together, something unique actually starts. This seed starts to grow. To do that, they need to be educated, meaning to know technology, but also know management, finance. They need mentors, people who can guide them with their experience. They don't need to fall into every hole along the way or hit their head into brick walls. They need some help, some guidance, hence mentors. Then we need, let's say, the customers. That would be the industry, the high-tech industry, the low-tech industry. In general, people would be their users. Then, most cases, they need a place to sit in, hence a municipality, hence something above it, which is called government, and of course, money. You need to feed the beast all the time. Money. Startups love to raise money. For them, money is the oxygen, where I think they do it wrong too early and with not mature enough to actually go after it, but we agree money, of course, is an engine. So put together, startups are an engine or a growth engine within every economy worldwide. No one now goes about without knowing that startups sit in the core, in the beginning of many of what we have today, same as creativity. So we need those people, and we don't have too many of them, meaning those who will go all the way. In Israel, because of culture, being very educated culture, a culture that always take a second opinion. Funny to Israeli startups that if you a startup reach out to you and says, hey, I need some money, and you say yes, they kind of confused. Excuse me, you said yes. Wait, why are you saying yes? They go second opinion even on the positive. So one thing is to be that kind of a person. Second is to be surrounded by needs, by problems. And for some reason, God put us here with many problems in Israel. Existing. I mean, our existence is a trouble all around. So we have a lot of what to solve. So when you have the ecosystem in place, aside from startups and accelerators, you have the mentors, you have the academy, you have the industry, the municipality, the government, and money. Then you have the soil where you plant the startups. And in Israel, they grow. They grow because of, let's say, character. As you know, we have army, which is mandatory, that really kind of molds us differently. We have, when you're surrounded by smart people all around, you need to be smarter all the time. When you have 6, 7, 8,000 startups competing with you, you need better be unique, and you better be fast, and you need to be concentrated. So I think all this put together makes us very unique. And just to tell is that it's not that we were named a startup nation. We just decided that we are, and everyone said, great, we agree, why not? And we had a book, by the way, written 14, 15 years ago. It will be obsolete today. So all that put together, Israel is the startup country of the world, or startup nation of the world.
That's a great point when you say like you define yourselves that way. And I think that's really important when you have that confidence in what you can offer. But continuing with this direction, with your work as an acceleration program leader and everything, do you tend to favor Israeli business, or what's your take on Israeli diaspora?
So just to clear again, we are Israelis by nationality. We're Jewish by religion. Some mix that up, okay? That's to begin. Second of all, we are very small in numbers. I mean, the entire Jewish population of the world is 16.5 million. That's smaller than Mumbai. So when you understand this, then comes the question, so how do you make so much noise? And for us, existence is about making noise. You know, when you're alone and you're afraid a burglar comes in, you start to make noise because you think he will run away. Same as we do noise. And we stick together, we glue ourselves, okay? We grow in small communities. We're very family oriented. Family cell is very strong in Israel, managed by the mothers. That's the core, that's the power of who we are. I wouldn't say that I favor more. I would say that it's kind of more easy to connect to people because startups are people. Before there are technology, there are people. It's easier, first of all, to connect with people of your same culture, your same language. Okay, that is number one. Number two, people here are kind of more determined, more resilient, more focused. We share the same problems, okay? I mean, startuppers all over the world, kind of same breed of people. Here, maybe taken more to the extreme of doing things. We have a way of finding a need and then go under radar and immerse, come up again when we have technology ready, very quick. The technology side is very strong here, but with a lot of motivation, a lot of push because of competition all around. So I would not say that I'm all for, but again, I see and I mentor many programs and many startups worldwide. I see the difference. I see the maturity difference. Okay, I see the focus, the I feel sometimes that I can actually break startups overseas by talking. Israelis, they go, okay, I got you. Okay, next. Because again, in my ecosystem, I would assume there are much more like me. Abroad, I'm different. And this is where I like to be more the last years.
Of course, cultural background is very important for connections. So I completely understand. And to continue, I would like to know also, before entering the startup acceleration and angel investing industry, you founded the Optimum Group, which you sold to start your new ventures. How did that experience mold you into who you are today and what you do today?
I don't get this question often, but let's see how well I handle it. So, first to say that had to be in a different, let's say, period in my life. Okay, I was younger, of course, less experienced. I left the Navy and started managing a family-owned business that grew from 8 people to be over 100, and from one company to be 4 companies that in the end were sold as a group. I would say that a lot of lessons learned for me were about business, finance, management, but also about setting expectations and goals, understanding there needs to be a plan, there needs to be a roadmap, there needs to be milestones. Venturing from that part, which is very formulated in a way, into startup world, that is usually kind of mind-boggling, and I will explain. Startups, for some reason, feel that if they're startuppers, they have a license to be crazy. They feel But although they come from Cisco, IBM, Intel, all the monsters that everything is so organized, everything has regulations, restrictions, formatting. They go into startups, and that's their permit to go crazy and forget all that. And I would like to say now, being more experienced, that is not the way to go. So in my programs, I would say within the first month of, let's say, a 4, 5, 6 months program, every participant, they need to have a work plan in place. Yes, it's agile. Yes, it's adjustable, but needs to be a plan. And they need to follow a plan. Second, deliverables. As we said, intentions are nice. We more favor results, deliverables. Hence, there's a list of deliverables. Then would come the guidance. Be open to understand, not just the fact that, of course, you don't know everything, is that you need help. And you need help because startups, as much as they are good in developing technology, they suck when it comes to management and when it comes to business. And for this, they need assistance and help. So I took from what I've experienced myself, the good and the bad, the problems, let's say the failures and the success. And as you all know, there is a conference even about it called FailCon. And there is a spin-off for that called Fuck Up Nights. And there is a reason. But there is also a good reason that we should look back, reflect on success. And this you don't see often. You see many of us reflect on failure. Why did we fail? But what about success? Why don't we explore why did we succeed and do more of that? So I kind of deviated a little bit from the question, but generally I would say yes. I've got enough cuts and bruises to remind me what I did wrong, and of course try and do better as time goes by.
Yeah, actually, it was excellent, the kind of deviation, because the next questions were about that. What kind of advice would you give to founders watching us who try to build and grow their startup? And what do you think is founders' biggest mistakes or misconceptions about the ecosystem?
So I would say to founders, first of all, listen to your gut feeling. And if your gut feeling tells you that listening to our podcast now is of value, don't leave it with you, share it. Second of all, reach out. In all my conferences, in all my presentations, I carry just a one slide. It's the slide with my details, how to connect with me, follow me on social networks and everything. And it has my mobile number. And people are astounded or shocked to say, you honestly just published your personal mobile? You say, yes, what's the problem? No one calls me anyway. And the reason is that people usually think maybe that I'm busy, or how can they really approach me? Or would it cost them money? Instead of just asking. So I would say to our listeners, stop thinking that you can get into my mind and really see and understand what I want. Better ask. Better ask. And for that matter, don't try and get into your team's mind and brain. Just tell and ask. It's as simple as that. So I would like to tell startuppers, first of all, a lifespan of a startup is like a butterfly. You're born and you die that quick. Statistically, we know 96% of startups failed first year of operation. It's not about money. It's not about motivation. They just perish, fade away. No one will ever know about them. There is the small percentage that keeps on persisting. And we know that the failure rate is very high. Hence, many people don't like to go into startups because it's very risky. Failure is an orphan. Hence, people don't connect to that. What I want to say is that you need to work fast. Startups is not for slow people. And by the way, to have a startup is not a must. You're not a failure if you don't have a startup, unless you're Israeli, then something is wrong with you. So say, thank God I'm not Israeli. It's not a must. I would say that although it's not a must to have a startup, I really recommend people to try. Join a team. Try it a little bit. Go into a program, an accelerator, and try it. And yes, it's okay to say the reason I want to have a startup is because I want to be rich. It's okay to be rich. Not all of us need to bring world peace. Money is good enough. Good enough of a reason. Why? Because as a startupper, you're poor. Everyone is faster than you. Everyone is smarter than you. Everyone is richer than you. So the one thing you are allowed is to dream that you will make a fortune. Nothing else will feed the beast, waking you up in the morning. So if that is the reason that we're doing this, work fast, listen to your gut. Don't listen too much around. Period of time you need to go and just run. One thing startups do their entire lives, not first year, second year, entire life, is survive. For that matter, many of us worldwide just live to survive if you think about it. We are slaves to ourselves. Startups, this is where you need to let your brain free, run, until you have validated the need, the problem that you want to solve. You have validated the solution, go on the radar, make technology come up and get to the market as quick as you can. You know, we have a stage called an MVP, a minimal viable product, a prototype. And the saying is that if your MVP looks good, you are late to the market. It needs to be scraps of some glue and spit put together. Just find yourself a customer that would quickly tell you, I'm in or I'm out. And then you speed it up. So for that matter, second of all, remember, you must show skin in the game. You cannot take an idea or a presentation, walk to an investor and say, give me $1 million. Are you out of your mind? Who would give you $1 million? Why would they give you $1 million? You need to make sense. Sense means you need to validate. Now, the later you will reach the money, or you will go asking for the money, probably better chances you will get it. You will get more money than that you will even want, and you will give less equity of your company. Statistically, we saw that as much as the person is older by age, the bigger the exits are. The more experienced you are, the more traction you can show for yourself, you're positioned much better. Remember, in the end, you are not approaching a slot machine and see what comes out. You're approaching a person and you're convincing them, knowing you for an hour at most, give me $1 million, a $500,000, a 10 million. Why? Would you give anything? No, you would like to know more about the experience, the capability, how serious you are about it. What is your skin in the game? What do you stand to risk should that fail? And you know, so many times I'm asking entrepreneurs, so why don't you go, how much do you want? 50K? Why don't you go to a bank? Take a loan for 50K and you will own your own company. The bank will not take equity. You know what the answer I get? Well, to the bank, I need to give the money back. And to an investor, what? What is he, stupid? He will just give you the money and disappear from your life. Oh, so we lost. People don't think the right way. And they need to listen to podcasts like this to slap them in the face and wake them up. It doesn't work this way. And when you reach the market and when you reach, your investors too early, they will take a lot of you. Probably they will manage you. And this is just to remind you, why did you leave your desk job? Because you wanted to be your own boss. If I gave you 1,000 or a 10 or a 50 or $1 million, I own you. Do you understand? Your freedom is gone. Now you need to start reporting. Get this into your mind. And in some points, startuppers just lose the campus. This is why I always say to startuppers, put on the wall in your home, in your office, just a one sentence. Why are we here? Why did we start this crazy? What did we think when we started? Always, when you come in the morning and when you leave, look at the sentence. Remind yourself why you're here. Cut your losses short. It is okay to say, I have failed. It is okay, first of all, to fail. Second of all, to say to yourself, put yourself, stop. A stop time. When you say up to here, if I haven't done this, if I've not achieved it, that's it, I'm out. Start over again or go do something else and return. It's okay. Consult, talk, find good mentors, find people with experience. Don't think you know everything. Know that you don't know everything. And everything, I mean very little, just even about your startup.
Yeah.
These are kind of a few pointers.
Yeah, those are really good advices. If I was a startup founder, I would have appreciated them. Now, a little bit more about internationalization. You're incredibly well known in the industry. You've worked in multiple countries. So I wanted to know, how did the networking usually happen for you? How did it work?
So I would say one of my favorite workshops is actually how to mingle, how to connect. And let me tell you, when you go to whatever conference, an event to meet, and you look like, who would approach you? Why would people approach you? When you're not nice, when you're not friendly, when you cannot say a good word about your team, about the person next to you, no one will connect with you. If you cannot hug, you cannot come close. If you don't have the basic social skills, you're out of the game. Out of the game meaning that it doesn't mean that you will perish and disappear. It's just someone else will take the money that you wanted to take. It's as simple as that. If you don't know to be appreciative, if you don't know how to really be nice, be kind, socialize, mingle, it has a meaning. And luckily, it can be taught. You don't need to know it. You need to practice it. You need to prepare. You don't wake up and say, hey, I need to be in San Francisco next week, and that's it. First of all, it's never for free. You need to spend a ton of money. That means if you will not take it seriously, who will take it seriously? You need to prepare. There is a lot of pre-work that needs to be done. Why do you need to schedule a meeting landing in San Francisco? Why can't you go 3 weeks before on Zoom and have a talk and then just meet to shake a hand or to sign the document? Why wait? There's never enough time. Who should know what you are? What people need to guess? Is there a bulb a sign over your head saying who you are? No. So you need to tell. Don't like to guess. I will say on the contrary. People like to be told what to do and not given an option. You need to understand that this is a managed event. When you want to commercialize outside of your country, first of all, you need to know where you want to go. Learn the market. Learn what you set expectations at the right place. Come ready, come prepared. Dress well, look well, speak well. It's a lot about exercise. And when people hear that, they go, it's too much work, maybe. So why are we here again? So you want my money under I want money for marketing. Do you know how to market? You don't know what? Can you do the basic mingling when you say I will market? So this element needs to be taught. I would not say it is unique to one country because again, it's about people. In every country, you will find different people, different qualities, different expertise. This is why, again, when you sit in a cohort in an accelerator and you get to see different people, then you can, as we say, also barter, meaning I will help you with this, help me with that. But it needs to start with you understanding that you lack something, that you want to complete what is lacking, and then do it in way of sharing. I always say companies compete, startups unite. And you unite for the simple reason when you are low on resources and the only thing that you can do is barter. Bartering is about being nice. Why otherwise I will help you? It's as simple as that.
That's actually, I think it's something that we need to take for life. It literally just takes being nice and being open. And for our last question, I guess what I wanted to ask, it's a very unserious question. You always seem to be doing so much. So I was wondering, what do you do in your free time if you have any?
So I will be very frank with you. I have more free time that you can imagine. It's like I have always free time and I fill it a little bit with some activities. So first of all, I went through a major change in my life, and I lost 25 kilograms starting from January of 2020, and enlisted to a gym. It was COVID time, so I had to wait, and I started at home. So the whole workout thing is something that I'm very much involved in. I'm a Navy guy, so I like to sail. So I sail a yacht, and that is quite nice. I mean, different environment. And those who want to see more, of course, you're welcome to visit my Instagram and see my kind of little bit about my lifestyle. I'm inspired. People ask me, how are you getting so, how do you recharge yourself? I mean, I talk for a living, okay? But aside from that, it takes a lot of energy being nice all the time and smiley and huggy and take selfies with everyone that wants. First of all, you learn that there are much harder jobs in the world, okay? I don't carry bricks. I use this, and it's here for a reason. Second, I like to inspire people. I find that my best charging is done on stage, is to speak to people, is to share with them experience and knowledge in a very simple and practical way. I mean, after you listen to my lectures, you don't need anything more. You take little bits and pieces, you adjust them to yourself, and you just practice them. What I know from experience is doing that at the beginning by yourself is super difficult, which is why, by the way, I don't train by myself. I need someone to motivate me. I don't build startups. I invest in startups. I, as much as I would like to think I have the same genes, I'm in a different spot in my life right now where I see the young people or the other people invent and I connect with them for the mentorship, for the guidance, for the help, for the support, for the morale. This is why you need to have almost always have a partner that will pick you up from the floor when you're down and you will do the same for him. So my time is really spread between traveling the globe and sharing my fortune of being able to speak well and to share also emotions, not just reflections, not just actions, to explain to people maybe better about themselves. I think when someone like me tells a startup it is, or to a startup, to a person, it is okay to fail. I think it's kind of helpful to say, hey, this guy did not just come to tell me about success and he thinks he's like, no, I'm like everyone else. I do stupid mistakes. I'm lacking tact from time to time. I fail. It's okay. I think I measure myself more of what I do about it. How do I stand up again? Not thinking, okay, how long do I need to stay down before I get up? I fall and I stand up and I look forward and I take decisions and I move on. Aside from that, of course, I have my family to take care of, which is very important, and my kids and everything. And of course, the family around, as I said, we are, as Israelis, are very united with the family cell. And again, and I think talks like this, you and I have been mailing back and forth a little bit, and this came about. So I'm very glad that you, first of all, gave me the stage to share more. I hope people will really try and maybe follow meaning maybe go to my website, go on social, write a comment, ask for help. It's that easy. I always say the worst you can get is a no. That's the worst you can get. But why go to sleep saying, I should have? Why did I do it? I don't like this kind of thoughts. I rather get the no. And that's it. And be gone and move forward. Always move forward. You know, people who run, I don't know if you ever made a marathon or Ironman or something like that, but you know, you start running, after a few kilometers, the brain starts talking to the body, asking, what are we doing here? Why are we suffering? I sweat, my legs hurts, my butt. Why? What's the prize? Are we going to win $1 million? No, there's no prize at the end. Well, we'll get a photo. Why finish? So you say, you know what? So let's run a little bit slower. And then in the little bit slower, let's walk faster. And then let's walk slow. And then we stop. And once you're stopped, that's it. You're done. You will never go back to running. I say reduce, but always move forward. Being able to look back and see after a period of time, wow, we really made a distance. This is what this is all about.
I think that's incredibly motivating in the sense that we do just need to try sometimes. And like you said, you always have the no as a guarantee if you don't try. So the worst thing that you can have, that you can get, is the one thing that you already have if you don't. So thank you so much for joining us in the Startup Universe Talks. This has been a pleasure for me. I hope the same for you.
Absolutely.
And yes, have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.